Hey, welcome back to Borsellino Carpentry. Unless this is your first time, then welcome to Borsellino Carpentry. So, if you are one of my new subscribers and you've been following along, I want to thank you again. I've been doing a whole bunch of these videos talking about unemployment and PPP and all this stuff going on with the CARES Act and all this stuff. So I've got a little update today. There's probably other videos out there too, but I figured at least the 400 and something subscribers that I've got might want to hear from me about some of this. So you might already know that I gave back my PPP and they've now extended and changed some of the rules for the PPP, which is part of the reason why I gave them back. Now they've changed a lot of the rules. So I'm going to get into that in this video and talk a little bit about unemployment and some other stuff. So here we go. So today is June 7th when I'm recording this, and on June 5th, they signed the PPP Flexibility Act on June 5th, okay? The CARES Act, when the PPP was originally put into place, was on March 27th. So over 2 months later, they signed something that just changed all the rules for all this millions, billions? I don't even remember. Millions, billions of dollars that they gave away to all these big businesses and stuff. So now they're changing all the rules of what you need to do to get the forgiveness part of it, and the rules to comply with all of this stuff. So one of the big things that a lot of people were concerned about was you had to spend 75% on payroll and 25% on other business stuff. And even that other business stuff was limited to certain things like mortgage and rent and utilities. I don't believe you could spend it on like buying yourself a new truck, if you know what I mean. So they were very precise about what they wanted you to spend it on. And they've changed that to 60% now. Instead of 75% for payroll, now it's 60% for payroll. They've also extended the time that you have to do this from 8 to 24 weeks, which is huge because they said, okay, you got to spend all this money in 8 weeks and we don't really know. And when you got this money, like for instance, I applied April 8th, approved April 29th, and I got the money May 7th. So a month after I applied, I got the funds, which was 5-6 weeks after they had started this whole thing. And they're like, okay, from the day you got it, you got 8 weeks now to figure out how you're gonna spend this money. And we're like, we're not working. How are we gonna spend this money? We're not working. What am I supposed to spend it on? I've spent it on payroll. Okay, so I write myself a check, then the rest on business, but the business isn't open. This doesn't make any sense. So they, I think, realized that everybody was like, I don't get it. Now we just have this loan because it's not going to be forgivable. Now I just have this loan I have to pay back. So they extended it all now. I think it's to the end of December where it ends up being. So that was good if you still got this. Some of the other things that they did. Okay, so they changed the deadline for when you have to rehire workers. It was June 30th, which is coming right up, and there's still not, a lot of things are not open yet, so they realized that wasn't gonna happen. So they extended that to June 31st. And then there's also, they're easing the requirements on rehiring because they realize a lot of these businesses, with all these new standards they put into place, they're not gonna be able to rehire the same number of people. And that was one of the other big stipulations was, if you had 10 employees when this all started, when you reopen, you have to have 10 employees for this loan to be forgivable. So now they are they've written in some stuff that says that they're gonna be a little easy on that. But it's still not, again, now they've just said, yeah, we're gonna be a little bit more easy on you. But what does that really mean? There's no real anything. And I checked on the SBA's website, the Small Business Association's website, and there is no information about this at all, at least not yet. I'm finding this on Forbes.com. A lot of the information that I've been finding throughout the last couple months has been on Forbes.com. So I'll put a link to what I'm looking at right now for that. And they're also going to extend the repayment term from 2 years to 5 years because they probably realize, okay, we've just given these people tons of money and then we're going to tell them it's not forgivable, so now they have to pay us back within 2 years, but now they're not working and everything. Blah, blah, blah. So they've said, all right, we'll give them 5 years. And they changed when you have to make your first payment from 2 months to 6 months. So they're giving people a little more leeway with this whole thing. I think they realized that they royally screwed up from the beginning. The only thing it doesn't do is change anything about the SBA loan audits. They're still going to have that. So they will be able to still audit you and see if you were maybe ineligible for this and got this wrong and come after you for it or something. I don't know. Again, this is exactly why I gave it back. They've just made it so complicated. And one of the things that they're looking at is whether they had access to credit elsewhere when determining their loan. So in my case, my loan amount was $5,100, but I have a credit card that has a balance, credit limit of 10 grand. So they could have said, well, you have a credit limit of 10 grand over there, so you didn't need this money. So, blah, blah, blah. So again, I'm just happy I gave it back. The safe harbor date for giving it back was originally May 14th. I gave mine back May 13th, and the day that I gave it back, they extended it to May 18th, which is still only 3 more days. I find it funny that they make the safe harbor date May 18th, and then they didn't even come out with this final ruling until June 5th. So their whole timeline of everything does not make sense. It does not make sense at all, but this is the government we're dealing with, right? So I mentioned SBA.GOV, and they do not have any of this information. I'm finding this all on Forbes. There's a great guy that I've been watching a ton of his videos. If you haven't seen him already, JJ the CPA. The letter J, the CPA. Look him up. I'll put a link down below. He's got tons of videos talking about this stuff, and he's an accountant, and even he is confused by all of it. He seems to be getting a little bit more understanding of it all, but even still he's like, I'm just telling you my interpretation because it doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense, even to an accountant. So that's where we're at with that. If you're getting any value out of this right now, please like and subscribe below. As far as unemployment goes, I've had a lot of people reach out asking me lots of questions about should they do this, they do that, am I going to get the money, but like, I don't work for the Department of Labor. I'm a contractor. I've been very clear about that up front. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a contractor who's struggling just like all of you are, trying to figure this out. And so what I've done is just made these videos to give you the information that I'm finding to help you guys along your path trying to figure this out. So as far as the unemployment goes, people have been asking me if they're going to get their back pay and all this kind of stuff. And all I've said is what I did was I just kept sending messages through the message board I'm in New York State, so the New York State Department of Labor's website. It'll be different for your state, however you guys are doing that. Now, I've done that. I got response from them and I got my back pay. My girlfriend, whose desk is right 5 feet away from me, has done the same thing I've done and has not gotten her back pay. So it's not even like what I'm doing is the way to do it and it's right. We're in the same house doing the same thing and we're getting 2 different results. And I'm hearing that all over the place in the comments that a lot of people are saying they got it, they waited forever, they were persistent and they got it. And then I'm hearing other people saying they haven't gotten a dime and it's been 3 months. So it's frustrating for everybody. And it's very bothersome that, they're letting the American people just like slip through the cracks. And now there's all this other stuff going on in the country that like it's just made everything even more complicated. But they have said, at least the governor of New York has said time and time again, they will pay everyone. They will make it. They will go back and you'll get everything once they figure it out. I just don't know how people are going to get through to that point where they get that money. That's the hard thing. What if a year from now they get their money? Well, what about the last year, So sit tight. There's lots of programs out there to help people right now, especially that are in these hard times. So reach out to your community, and there's tons of resources out there, depending on where you're living. So I hope that was helpful to somebody today. If you've got any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you got anything out of this, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.